I am under my 2006 Land Rover LR3. I've got a fuel sending unit that doesn't work, so my fuel gauge does not work. And I've already run out of gas one time. I've just been watching the miles on the odometer to know if I need to fill up. So these tanks have two units. There's a front one and a back one. My scan tools were telling me it's sending unit A, which I think is the front one, but I don't have that confirmed. So what I did was purchase just one of them. I should have got the pair since I'm going to have the tank out of the car. This would be the time to do that. But anyways, I'm going to go ahead and drop the tank. What you're going to need for this are some 10mm sockets, a wrench. There's some 8mm up here, and then these are 13mm. And I'm going to use my transmission jack to support the tank as it drops down. So let's see how this goes. Okay, this is a pretty good place to stop and take a look. Let's get a light on. So we're gonna have to disconnect all these lines so we can get the tank down. Otherwise, they're just gonna be pulling on the frame. Supply and return up here, and some vent lines in the back along with the electronics for the senders. So let me disconnect this stuff and we'll get the tank on the ground. Now I've got the tank out. This is the supply line. It's just got a little button on the fitting that you can press to separate it. And if you've not bled the fuel line, the fuel rail on top of the engine, this will be pressurized, and you're going to lose maybe 1/3 of a cup of gasoline through there. Okay, and this larger fitting on top of the tank is just squeeze to release. The wiring harness just has a push tab on it, and then lift it. And that was it. So here's where the supply line was. Just push that white button. And that's where that large vent tube was, where you squeeze both sides and lift up. And of course the wiring harness has got the button right there. Push it in and lift up. So now I can get my screwdriver to loosen this band clamp. And hopefully this, I'm going to blow it off with compressed air first to clean it. And hopefully this will just pop out of my way. Alright, so I blew it off with air, peeled this little foam protector off. You can see all these little pebbles and things trapped down in there. This we want to get that stuff cleaned out, and that it would be good to pull this off instead of just disconnecting the line here. So you can pull this out. This stuff is just going to act like an abrasive and eventually eat through that line. So we're going to get that all cleaned up. Now I've pulled the little band clamp off, ring clamp. So this nylon ring just spreads. So I'll have to use both hands for that. But that's going to open up and pull off of this cap. And then this is going to have a little O-ring in there. We'll just pull that out. That's where your pump and everything is going to be. Okay, that took just a sec to pull that off. So now I can see what we've got are these wiring connections and this vent tube and the supply line. So to get more movement out of this, we're gonna have to disconnect some stuff. So you can see that stuff will just kind of hang out in there. So what I'm going to do now is go ahead and get the rest of the gasoline out of the tank and get this where I can set it on the ground, separate it from this lower support case. From having mud and water and stuff trapped in here, we can see this is starting to rust. So I want to go ahead and clean this real good, maybe put some Pour 15 on it, weld up anything that looks like it's about to rust through, because I do not want the support for the gas tank to fail. Okay, so we've got that plastic tank out of that support shell, and there's just a lot of crud in there. So we'll get this cleaned up real good, and I'll go ahead and give it a coat of Pour 15 or something to prevent that from getting any worse. Okay, let's reach in there. Down here somewhere, so I've got to get, there's a little cavity I can stick, I'll show you in a sec. I can stick my hand right through here. And this is oriented just like this. So we've got the old one pulled out, the new one ready to go in. Let's see if I can show you what we're working with. So there, right beside that kind of corrugated tubing is where you have to stick your hand through there. Let's see if I can get my hand in place to show you how much space you have. So right through there, you just kind of have to snake your hand right through there. Push this hose, that corrugated tubing, out of the way against the outer wall, and you can get your arm through there and get your hand right around here. And then you see how this is made. This plastic pull tab is going to press inwards. This is really flexible. So you're just going to press that in so it'll release and pull it out. It comes out real easy. So now I'm going to try and get this one back into place. I suspect getting it back in is going to be a lot harder than taking it out. First I'll feel around. Golly, I'm gonna have to wet my arm. I was sweaty a minute ago. Need some sort of arm lubricant. Okay, let's see if that's any better with some slick stuff on my arm. Yeah. Okay, I can feel a little channel about right here. It's kind of like a little C channel, kind of like that. Right down in there. So that's where this has to slide in. I'm orienting this the right way, so it's going to come up. Really like to see how they do this at the factory. Okay. There we go. Nice satisfying little click. Golly. Alright. Now we're ready to put that back together. I'm going to use a vacuum here instead of compressed air. I don't want to blow these little... Okay, I got that area cleaned up. No more pebbles in there. I got that reassembled. Got the supply line in place. And I took an abrasive wheel to this stuff, cleaned it up, and sprayed it with Permatex rust treatment. Apparently my 415 turned into a rock because the container had been opened and closed back up. So I'm going to let that dry for a little bit and then get it back in the car. Okay, I just buttoned this thing up and got it back on the ground. Let's go to the driver's side. Put the key in and see if we have a fuel level reading. Hey, the gauge is alive. I got a quarter tank. No more guessing.